Hello, welcome everyone. We're here with week 6 English cast. Sorry for the delay, it was meant to be on Sunday, but unfortunately I could not cast on Sunday. Was feeling a bit under the weather, very sick, but I'm feeling better now, and let's go. We're gonna start with Russia against USA, week 6. Following this will be Sweden and Europe, and let's just jump right into this. It's 2 series, and let's go. So first, we're gonna start off with Dreamer against Striker. Alright, in the top right spawn is the green Protoss. We have Ash Dreamer representing Team Russia. And in the bottom right, we have the white Zerg Striker representing Team USA. Should be a very good matchup. Map is Polypoid. Now Striker, he's on a very strong run this Nation Wars event. He's already beaten Dandy and True Touch. Had a match against Ziki, which went pretty close down to the wire. Unfortunately couldn't pull that one out, but still strong results overall. Here we have Dreamer heading out to his natural. Not going to be any kind of one base play. Hello, I don't know your name, but hello. There's the pylon at the natural and immediately goes out for the scout. Striker is of course going to see this with his first overlord, and is he going to go for overpool or hatchery first? One of the reasons I've seen hatchery first be common on this map is because you can't reliably cannon rush, and because you can't make 2 gateways in the middle of the map. There's enough room for 1, but none of that. Here's the overpull from Striker. And it's going to be an 11 forge from Dreamer. And if he scouts with this probe, he'll be able to see all 4 bases. This is a very common opening on 4-player maps. Just very safe all around. Hello, Caster Muse. Sees the overlord. Now the probe is returning to his base, and there's Striker's drone. Just here casting at an odd hour because couldn't do it on Sunday, unfortunately, so making up for it now. Probe trying to harass. Now this is very important. You don't want to lose this probe. Forces you to send out another one, and losing shield is actually not that big a deal, but losing health is going to make it a lot harder to keep this alive. Now Striker is only making 2 lanes, and we did have Nexus before Forge, so this could be a little bit risky. Links are about to pop out. Nope, looks like it's fine. As long as the cannon starts as the links pop out, you have more than enough time. And here comes the third drone. Gas timing around 238. This is nice. You can make it a little bit faster, a little bit later, but this is like the sweet spot. So you can make your layer exactly on 16 when you have minerals and gas reach the necessary amount. Only 1 cannon, of course, because he saw the 2 lanes, and looks like we're just going to go into a normal game here. Pylon, then gas from Dreamer. Don't expect too much. Leaves 1 lane out at the front just to get any further scouting. And now this allows Striker to only scout with 1 overlord. You don't need 2 overlords to scout the Protoss if you can just keep vision of their main and natural like this. It doesn't mean this probe will never be killed, but if Striker's just going to play standard lair, then no reason. We already have the 9 drones in the main, so you see he's sending subsequent drones to the natural. Wants to saturate this as quickly as possible. It's like we need a drone. There's a drone. There's the overlord on 16, and standard play from Striker. Core and lair roughly at the same time, so ¿Cómo estoy? I am fine, thanks for asking. There's a link speed from Striker. Of course, Streamer sees all this. No reason to panic. Let's see. Okay, okay, that. Still no Stargate. A little bit delayed, and it's because he made the second Zealot instantly. Normally when you go for Forge Fast Expand, you can make one Zealot after core. Then you have to cut this just for a few seconds to get the Stargate instantly. One Zealot moves out, Zerg responds by making some Lings. 4 Lings without speed can deal with the Zealot just fine, but of course there's always that second Zealot. And the probe dies. And then Dreamer, upon seeing the number of Lings, I think he's just going to retreat. There's the +1 for the Corsairs. No Citadel quite yet. Second gas already mining. +1 air and ground. And Striker Spire is there. Now let's see how he hides his Overlord, because without proper hiding, you still lose one Overlord with this build. You can see sending them off to the side. Okay, so 3 Zealots now, so a bigger threat. And now the reason Striker might have not been ready is because he had no scouting of the natural, but looks like he'll be fine. Not utilizing any drones here, just pure links, but those Zealots are going down. Some more links coming from the third, and those 3 Zealots have been killed. There's one more. He's got to be careful. Don't want to lose any more. This does hamper his +1/+1 timing quite significantly. And there's the first Corsair from Dreamer heading out. It's like only drones here. First set of Scourge are being made, and we have the 4th and 5th hatch with the Hydrogen and Evolution Chamber. Good SimCity as well. Hydrogen like this makes it tight, so there's only one small gap here. Scourge popping out just in time. Let's look at the reaction timing from Dreamer. Pretty good. And looks like no Overlords will be killed. Still making Corsairs. This is a big investment in air, anti-air defense. And let's look at Striker's drone saturation. Looks like we have the ideal number. We have 9, 7, and then 8. He will start producing only Hydras now to defend from this incoming attack, which of course was actually going to be quite weak from Dreamer, simply because he already threw away those 3 Zealots. Now his Citadel and Archives are quite a bit late. This could be dangerous. The Hydra timing will hit before he has Storm, so he has to be careful not to die here. And let's look. He's at 41 probes at around 7 minutes, so pretty decent saturation. He's moving on with the first 4 Corsairs. Now this isn't enough to one-shot Scourge, and if he's not careful, he could lose these, but he's utilizing them to scout. Striker already droned up. Looks like he only made a handful of Hydras, really. And I think this is in response to not fearing at all the timing from Protoss. Considering Protoss already lost 3 Zealots, Striker is feeling quite confident here. He can defend any attack. Caster Muse, if you could translate some of the chat, because when it comes to Korean, I am really lost. 1 DT coming in, clearing up the links, but this is quite a late DT. By the time it gets to Striker's base, you have plenty of defense. +1 range on the way. Still no 7th hatch, 4th base from Striker. I wonder if he'll take the mineral only or another main. The mineral only is a lot closer to Protoss, but once it's set up, it's on a quite easy to defend high ground. Dreamer only now is adding gateways. He's going up to 4. Second forge already on the way. +1 done. He's getting +2, so he's gonna go for big timing. Lots of army with very strong upgrades. I like the Ling at the front always, just to scout any movement. And here's the 7th hatch, 4th base from Striker. He's finally deciding to move out, put some pressure on Dreamer. Only 2 cannons, quite a bit risky with the storm timing at around 9 minutes. He's leaving some Hydras and an Overlord in the main. This is an anti-drop measure, very common to drop even just 1 DT. And here are 5 Corsairs. Robotics on the way, and he's going up to 7, 8 gateways. Now getting a second forge like this really slows down your timing. You're investing in 2 upgrades at the same time, cutting into your army. So Striker senses this, which he hasn't because he hasn't sent an Overlord. He could have played this a lot more greedily, droned up more, knowing an attack wasn't incoming. There's +2 on the way. Both players playing quite passively, to be honest. No aggression from either side other than those 3 Zealots. Dreamer is quite content to just move out at around 12 minutes with a big army. He's already switching into Dragoons. He only has the 4 High Templars, but each will have at least 2 Storms. And he's going to wait for that 2-1 to kick in. You have an upgrade advantage at that point. Zerg is still just producing mass Hydras and some Lurkers. Now, one of the features of Polypoid is how easy it is to defend your first 4 bases. As you can see, this is a high ground. Very awkward to attack into Lurkers sunken. If it were Lurkers alone, it'd still be hard. Think of it like CB, but you can also make Sunkens in this location. If you're not attacking through there, you have to go through this tiny choke with the high ground nearby, and if it's not there, then look at the third. There's a small ramp, also on a high ground, so it's very awkward for players to attack on this map. Striker setting up with the double creep, and creep with Sunkens. I mean, creep with morphed into Sunkens with Lurker support. It's very, very awkward to attack into as Protoss. And Dreamer's about ready to move out. You can see Striker has macroed up significantly. He's already up to 58 drones, 4 bases fully saturated and mining. No Queen's Nest quite yet. I think this was going to make a Queen's Nest. And +2 is almost done for Striker. And here we go. Dreamer's moving in, but he's moving with the Zealots first. Zealots eating all the Lurker spines. Decent Storm on 1 Lurker and a good clump of Hydras. But as you can see, he's already run out of Zealots. Now there's only Dragoons left, and while these Storms have been very effective, once they run out and Protoss is left with only Dragoons, you can see how easy it is to clean this army up, and instantly just gets flanked by some Hydras that were in the back, and he loses his entire army. And this is without +2 for Striker, and that was still quite an easy defense. You can see the power of these 3 Sunkens with the Lurkers. If you're storming Lurkers, you're not storming Hydras, and all of a sudden you get overrun. And now Striker's gonna immediately counterattack. He won that fight decisively. Looks like we actually have another macro hatch. +2 is done, and no reason to go into Hive when you can just push Protoss back into the base. Oh, look at all these Scourge. That was very juicy. And now Dreamer's contained back in his base against a 4 base Zerg. Striker's just moving everything forward now. I like the patrolling Overlord and Hydra. Just want to minimize any kind of damage you can take at this point. And Dreamer is in big trouble. He does have the upgrade advantage, but look at the concave Striker is able to establish now. So these kills have been all Lings, I'm pretty sure, from when it moved out earlier. Striker's actually... There's no reason for Striker to do anything here other than just make units. It's 4 base against 2, and Protoss trades not very efficiently when breaking out of contain. Massive storm there. Striker wasn't paying attention for 1 second, loses 8 Hydras, but he still has just so much army. We have a drone here. This is just a rally. I doubt he'll make a hatchery here just to make this even more obnoxious. He might take this mineral only, but you can actually storm the mineral only from behind. Just one of the interesting features of this map. Dreamer for a second looks like he's able to break out, but Striker has way more production than he does at this point, and also way more economy. And even then, just not enough, and Dreamer types GG. And with that, we have 1 point for USA, and we're going to move on to the next set. Next set is going to be DeWalt against Raz. DeWalt is the strongest player on Team Russia, and Raz is a newcomer from Team USA. Because a lot of last season's USA members like Tai2, Hawk, and Sugo aren't participating, there are some new faces on Team USA. The map is going to be on Eclipse, and let's jump right into that game. Alright. In the top right spawn, we have the blue Protoss, Raz, representing Team USA. And in the bottom left, we have DeWalt, representing Team Russia. USA Korea team, I mean, James Striker, Boa, Tai2 is also Korean. He's on the roster, but he's not being fielded. And I think Tom Brown, aka Magician, is also Korean. So is Team Canada. Team Canada has Agios, Crossy, and Boyle's brother as well, Red Duck. Last time we casted PvP on this map, we saw proxy gates on both sides. It looks like we're going into something a little bit more standard here. Let's see. Looks like it's fine. Now I'm interested to see when you're an underdog in a mirror matchup what kind of strategy you decide to utilize. It's like Raz gonna go for the gateway scout, so is DeWalt. Just playing it safe. 11 gas from DeWalt, and Raz is also doing the same. So mirror builds, no 2-gate. Raz is actually scouting for one of the more common proxy locations. It's either here or at the third. DeWalt just heading through the middle of the map. Caster Muse, what time is it in Korea right now? It's like we're not mining efficiently from Raz already. A small mistake there. Not the biggest of deals, but it's still something you can optimize pretty easily. And let's change the score. Team USA, of course, has 1 point currently. Are you going to sleep soon, or did you just wake up? What are we working with here? Anti-miner pylon here from Raz. Is this cancel? Looks like no, not a cancel. And Probe is lingering around. Now the Dragoon is about to finish. Both players opting to skip for that Zealot, which makes miner pylons just slightly more effective. You can see the wall has one probe trapped and another mining behind the minerals. Probe lost there is actually pretty impactful in a mirror matchup. You see DeWalt retreated with his probe, sensing when that Dragoon is about to come out around 310. I mean, it's pretty easy to keep track of in a PvP, and as a result, DeWalt's ahead on 2 probes, not just 1. And Raz is going to go for 1 gateway expand. So this is pretty greedy, but he did get a lot of scouting information on DeWalt. Now it's very important for Raz to deny any kind of scouting information He is playing a build that can be very easily abused. Now, against what DeWalt is doing, this is actually pretty good. DeWalt following up with the second gateway. So, he's going to go for 2 gateway observer. And then probably Reaver. Raz is going to defend with only gateway units. I don't finish at the net. He's going to go up to 3 gateways. Now the only way for him to defend 2 gateway Reaver timing is doing this. Because of his fast nexus, he's going to bank on his superior economy to hold off any kind of attack that's incoming. He did cut a significant number of probes to do this, but he's going to bank on the fact that he has a way faster second nexus. And here comes the DeWalt trying to poke in. Release just wants to see what's going on. Looks like we had 3 shots go off on this Dragoon, and the DeWalt actually losing a little bit of health, but not a very impactful engagement. 2 gateways producing Dragoons. We have the observatory done. First observer on the way, and so we're just sending out probes around the map. Yes, today SeriCast. And there's a support bay. So DeWalt is playing standard. He is in the dark, still unsure what Raz is doing, but Raz is also not entirely aware. It's pretty hard to scout at this point in PvP. Observer sees the probe come in, and DeWalt actually moves forward with all 6 Dragoons. So this is an instant reaction to just deny the probe scout. But if DeWalt was very attent there, he would have actually retreated some of the Dragoons and attacked with only a few to hide the number of Dragoons he was holding. Here we have Raz putting on some pressure. Of course, the Reaver isn't going to be done for quite a bit. So because it's 3 gateways against 2, there is an opportunity for Raz to put on some pressure. But he's just holding this high ground. One of the features of this map is that to cross the middle, you have to go down a ramp and then up another. I didn't know there was a series on Africa TV. But no, this is SeriOsity, the Protoss player. And here's the pressure from Raz. It's going to be 10 Dragoons against DeWalt's 8. Well, actually looks like he couldn't afford the Dragoon there, but the Reaver's going to be out pretty soon. And with the good concave that he has on this pylon at the front, just to buy some more time, I think DeWalt's going to be fine. Reaver comes in, and this should be an instant retreat from Raz, but it looks like he wants to pounce on this Reaver, but because of the positioning of the Reaver so close by, you can see how the mischance affected that engagement, and Raz is actually going to retreat. That being said, he does have the much faster second nexus, but he still hasn't recovered quite enough in the economy. He cut probes to do this build, and you bank on the fact that you're able to produce 2 probes at a time versus 1 to make up for the probe cuts, but it seems like he skipped a beat. DeWalt has a ton of scouting information now. He sees what Raz is doing. Raz is actually amassing gateway units, not getting any further tech. He only has the observatory and the robo, so he's gonna still be quite vulnerable to DeWalt's superior tech, and DeWalt's getting instantly archives. He's getting another Reaver, and this is actually pretty important because Raz is gonna have a significant gateway army advantage. So at this point, DeWalt has to play defensively like this, especially since he teched so far up the tech tree. He's been on 2 gateways this entire time, and he's getting DTs out, and he wants to have some kind of map control, but Raz's first observer is out. It can still be quite risky for him. He's only gonna have 1 observer and maybe a second, and it'll still allow DeWalt to get some damage done with his DTs. No second gas from Raz. 6 gateway production with observers. There we go. +1 from DeWalt, and DeWalt is quite comfortable in this position. All he has to do is not attack. He has the superior tech advantage. He doesn't know about his economic advantage, but it's not significant. what he really should be looking at is the army of Raz and the gateway number, and realizing that Raz has no further tech. And we can already see one DT getting in, already killing one probe, two probes going down, and the probe pull. Second DT heading towards the natural, and Raz is getting caught with his pants down here. Only made the one observer. Here we have a second in production, but this is painful losses from Raz. Let's see, DT in the main has 6 kills, and DT at the nat only has about 2, but every probe loss here hurts massively. Raz was banking on doing some damage, I think, with this attack, but now he's so far behind economically that the wall really doesn't have to do anything. Looks like the wall wants to take this high ground outside of his natural. Gateway's not even producing because Raz isn't mining gas. He only has the one probe. And the DT is hidden in the top right corner. Sees another probe to kill. And there he goes down. The wall actually checking for a third base potentially. He's going to take his own third base. He's still only on the 4 gateways, which is a little bit risky, but he has 4 rears. It's impossible for Raz to attack into this. There's a pylon going on third with the Nexus, and it'll be pretty easy for DeWalt to defend. Even from the low ground, this is enough of a choke that the Reavers will be pretty effective here. Even getting high Templars behind the storm on the way. A couple cannons being added. I mean, DeWalt's really ahead, but he's still playing a little bit risky. I don't think Raz will be able to do anything with this attack, especially from this angle. He's gotta be careful. Looks like he's wanna move forward, trying to get a good engagement here. Really wants to spread his units out to minimize the damage from the Reaver Scarabs. And the Reaver Scarabs are, looks like they're going off now, but these Reavers don't have any shuttle support, so they're actually pretty easy to snipe off. Raz is just moving forward. Reavers are quite exposed. 3 of the Reavers have gone down, and it looks like the wall is barely gonna hold. Some Dragoons coming from the north side, and these High Templars are just waiting for Storm, but there's not enough Raz's army here to do much, and the wall is effectively gonna get away with playing this greedy, just too far ahead. Raz is actually adding even more gateways, really wants to end this game now. With the wall, it's matching his gateway count, has superior tech, has +1, no +1 from Raz. Hello, Sugo. I was just talking about how Raz is a newcomer on Team USA because I guess the USA mainstays aren't participating. No Hawk, no Sugo, no Tai 2. But he's played pretty well. Unfortunately here, just took too much damage from that DT, and now the wall is in quite a comfortable position. More gateways going up. Not really sure what Raz could do here other than just expand. We have the wall scouting this space for a potential Nexus. Gonna check this one too. Gonna see the timing of this third Nexus and realize how far ahead he is. Even gonna pylon block this. Just being as annoying as possible. Leaving one Reaver here at the third is kind of cute. Will make it easier to defend counterattacks. It looks like we had a bad rally here from Raz, or maybe he's moving out, but his units are pretty unorganized. DeWalt mixing in some Archons, and the splash advantage he's going to have in every engagement, it's going to be pretty huge. He has Storms, he's going to have Archons, even has a couple, or actually only one Reaver now, but he's going to use that defensively. I think this was a bad rally from Raz. Not much to comment on here. Just waiting for DeWalt to attack. He has 4 High Templars and the 1 Archon. We have a good concave from Raz. Raz doesn't have Storm quite yet, so he really doesn't want to engage here. And the wall really doesn't have to engage. It's on Raz to do something at this point. You can see the wall is mixing in a lot of Zealots. Now. He's caught up in the Gateway Council. He's no longer at an army disadvantage. Still no Storm for Raz quite yet. We have the wall moving in with the High Templars first, just to Storm weaken this army from Raz, and then he can engage with the rest of his. I think the Templars each use a Storm. Now they're gonna retreat. They can actually wait for another Storm. No, looks like the wall wants to end this game now. It's just gonna power through with these Archons. Looks like we had a slightly sneaky 4th base from the wall. And he has this dominating position on top of this ramp. This pylon that, this pylon DeWalt made at the 3rd of Raz, still alive. It looks like we're gonna move in now. Raz does have Storm here. That's a pretty good first Storm, but DeWalt just wrapping around with his Zealots from the side. Just has Archons. Archons are very good at tanking the damage from the Storms. You see none of them went down, and Raz types CG, and with that we're at 1-1. DeWalt wins. How do you people get VIP? Oh, Raz in the chat. Unfortunate loss, but well played nonetheless. What's next? We have Lancer X against Jaeyoon on Fighting Spirit. Oh, looks like we have a Jaeyoon fan in the chat. Alright, let's go into that. In the top left, oh, look at these colors. What is this? In the top left, we have the, I don't know, white Zerg Jaeyoon. And in the bottom left, we have the also white Protoss Lancer X. Alright, let's update the score. It's 1-1 currently. Winners have been Striker against Dreamer and DeWalt against Raz. Who's Siri? Apparently there's a Siri girl who plays Terran and streams on Africa. But no, that is not me. That's right, going to the natural. Oh, look, his pylon is about 3 seconds late. But it doesn't matter. Now, one of the things I don't like about Jaeyoon, I hope Jaeyoon is here, is that whenever I cast a Jaeyoon game, especially ZVP, I feel like he can't play a ZVP unless it's 20 minutes long. Alright, looks like he's gonna go for the overpull. Lancer X heading to the bottom right, gonna see nothing there and leave. Because it's a 4-player map, here we go. There's a second probe heading out to make the forge. Now it's pretty normal to also scout with this probe. Lancer X probably not showing too much confidence. He didn't go for 1 gate. This is the best 1 gate spawn on Fighting Spirit. I mean, after this I have to cast Europe and Sweden, so I really want short games. Oh, Jaeyoon flirting with trying to harass that probe, but he really doesn't want to land back in. But he's just playing standard Lyra behind this. Nonetheless, this is important information he doesn't want to reveal. And we have the first Zealot trying to head to the third. Trying to get this Zealot to the third and the probe in the main, but the probe dies instantly. Jaeyoon leaving 4 links at the natural, going to deal with the Zealot with only 4 links, knowing there's a second incoming Zealot on the way. Only losing 1 link there, and he's hunting for that second Zealot. Now we have the speed finish around 5 minutes, so Lancer X should know that this isn't going to be 3-hatch Hydras. Link speed is often skipped when going for 3-hatch Hydra. And looks like, again, only one lane lost. And he deals with that second zealot. So, what am I missing? Okay, there's a Stargate. Semi-hidden there, but I think Jaehyun's Overlord Scout, you can see it's already retreating. And he's sending Overlords to the right side of the map, trying to avoid these Corsairs. Fourth hatch on the way. Spire about 50% done. And he's saturating his bases now. Fifth hatch, and he's gonna Sim City nicely like this. He's actually had a very healthy drone count already, and Lancer X throwing away those two Zealots. It's very common to attack with them just to force Zergs to make Lings, but Jaehyun reacted excellently and had the Lings in position. Didn't even have to pull drones. No drones were lost, and only 2 Lings were lost for 2 Zealots. Loses that one scouting Overlord, should be expected, and now he's gonna make Scourge to defend from the rest. Drone saturation looking healthy. Evolution Chamber and Hydra then on the way. We had Hydra speed. +1 from Lancer X on both air and ground. There's a second gateway. His archives and speed are quite a bit late. He has to be careful not to delay his archives too much. After the initial defense, Zergs like to counterattack with their Hydra group. Zerg basically has one of two choices: just stay back with the Hydras and defend the Overlords while droning up, or keep making Hydras and put a ton of counter pressure on Protoss. Here, Jane's actually moving out. I'm actually fearful for Lancer X in this position. You can see Jaehyun is already moving out with all of his Hydras. Now Jaehyun has to be careful. Actually, SimCity is so good that one Larva Egg blocks all his Hydras from moving out. Jaehyun has to be careful with his Overlords when he moves out with his Hydras like this, but this isn't that many Hydras, only 10 Hydras, and he's forcing extra cannons from Lancer X. There's the archives extremely late. If Jaehyun were to keep producing Hydras at this point, there's no way for Lancer X to survive. Now he doesn't know this, he doesn't have information. He didn't scout with his Scourge to see the archives timing, which will let him know that this is already a 1 game if he just keeps making Hydras. He's gonna try to hide these Overlords. He's gotta be careful. One of the only threats here when your Hydras are this far forward is this. Exactly this. And he droned up behind us, so this is risky play from Jaehyun. Droning up behind Hydra aggression exposes you to counterattacks from the Corsairs. And you see he's pretty heavily supply blocked here. He's going to be the 6th hatch and the 3rd gas. This 3rd gas a little bit faster than I'd expect. No lurkers on the way, so unless this is Bermudas, I'm not really sure what the 3rd gas is for. You already see Jaehyun's floating a large amount of gas here. Again, I gotta apologize for the earlier disconnection, internet issues. Fortunately, it was only a few minutes, and hopefully it doesn't happen again. Really ruins the stream's momentum, but here we are. Jaehyun snipes the gateway, and now Lancer X has enough to go out on him. But you see, his archives is so late, doesn't have any Templars at 9 minutes. 9 minutes. Adding extra gateways is very late, but he did have to make those cannons not to die to Jaehyun. And there we go. Now this explains the 3rd gas. When I didn't see lurkers, and I wonder why he took that 3rd gas, it's to make Mutalisk. I think most of the Corsairs have gone down. We only have 3 now. They do have +1, so if he keeps making Corsairs, it will be effective against the Mutalisk. Still no High Templars being made. This is extremely strange play from Lancer X. And Jaehyun doesn't have +2 on the way. Looks like that's slight oversight there. I like the map vision he actually has. Look at how his Overlords are spread out all over the map, giving him a ton of map vision. Won't be caught off guard by anything. Only made 4 Mutalisk. Looks like, no, we have a few more back at home. But this is enough Corsairs to deal with just 4 Mutalisks. So you have to be careful here not to lose these. I mean, this is not the best use of Mutalisks fighting Corsairs with +1 head-on. More Corsairs from Lancer X being made. And here's the 7th hatch from Jaeyoon. There's +2. And there's Lurker Carapace, or Aspect, almost done. Lancer X again gonna move out, but he's only having Zealots. His High Templars are only in production now. And with Mass Hydras, it's pretty easy to deflect pure Zealot attacks. Even made more Mutalisk. The Mutalisk, not the best against Zealots, Corsairs. So they're trying to fight, but Lancer X actually kept making it and has enough to... this is all over the place. Looks like the ground battle was won decisively by Lancer X. And the air battle, with only 1 Corsair left, would say it was a tie, but that always favors Zerg. And Jaden actually being forced to retreat here. This is actually very risky. It's like most of his Hydras here at this ramp, and with 1 Lurker block, he's able to defend. Now the natural won't be so easy to defend if Lancer X heads straight there. Jaden's gonna have to react. Looks like he's aware of this, sending all of his Hydras to his natural. Has his SimCity in his favor. Again, blocks with 1 egg, but it's not a complete block. They can still filter in through the mineral line. Jaden bringing his Hydra from the 3rd, and it looks like he's just gonna have barely enough. The High Templars coming in, but most of the Zealots have gone down. Actually, no, most of the Zealots are still alive. They're just not together. They're a little bit scattered. And this favors the Hydra. You can see Jaden microing around the Zealots. These High Templars really want to get to the natural and storm this cult of drones. Let's look at the reaction from Jaden. Looks like 1 Lurker just barely in time, and he storms the Lurker. Why? Okay, so at the end of all that, you see now it looks like Lancer X still wants to put on pressure, but where's the Robo? Robo just finishing now. That was a larger number of Zealots than expected by Jaden. I think he was just caught off guard there. Really wanted to focus down those Corsairs, but lost the ground army fight convincingly, and Lancer X was able to put on a ton of pressure. But now, after smoke is cleared, we can see Jaden's economy is in a much stronger position than Lancer X. Lancer X does have 2 forges, so he's going to have an upgrade advantage here. And they're both spinning currently, so one of the... I guess that explains why his High Templars were so late. He's focusing a lot of gas into Corsairs and upgrades. Now, clearing up some of the map vision Jaden had from earlier, but Jaden's positioning himself to go into late game now. Already has Lurkers at the ramps, at his rally, mixing in Lings now so he can use his gas elsewhere. Hive already done, crack on the way, and we have a 2nd evolution chamber. No upgrades on the evolution chambers quite yet, which means these Lings are actually going to be quite weak against these 2-1 Zealots. They're going down for Lancer X, and he's now finally switching into an army that's more than just Zealots. Are the Corsairs still alive? If the Corsairs were still alive, there they are. He does have the opportunity to go for some drops at Jaden's natural. Oh, looks like he loses another Corsair. With only 2 left, he won't be able to accomplish much at this point. Jaden setting up another micro hatch at the top right. Has the Nidus now, so he can send drones and units through it. And this game is gonna go long, not surprising from these 2 players. Oh. Still no upgrades from these evolution chambers. Looks like Carapace is about to start here. Just waiting for Jaden to put that in play. Now Lancer X's upgrade advantage is actually going to be massive. He's going to have 3-2 before Jaden has any upgrade on his Lings. So this army deficit that you see currently, which is actually not that much of an army deficit considering the economic deficit. The armies are about equal size, but Lancerex's army is going to be a lot stronger. These are 2-1, about to be 3-2. And JM, this is actually kind of cute. We're not even going to get carapace upgrades. We're just going to get weapons 3. Here, Corsair harassing an Overlord. Lancerex is trying to take a 4th base in the bottom right. Really want to leave some units, maybe like 3 Zealots at least, when trying to take a base, because just 1 Ling will deny it. Here we go, the High Templars are exposed. They're all alone, and 2 of them go down, only getting off 1 storm each. A bit unfortunate. Lancerex still has this large gateway army, and they have 2-2 upgrades, and as you can see, these Lings don't have any upgrades. Unfortunately, he's leading with the Zealots, so they're eating all the Lurker Spines. The Lurkers are well upgraded at this point. And now he doesn't have that many Zealots. The Zealots have mostly gone down. There are 2 DTs here, which are providing a ton of value, but Jaehyun unburrowing his Lurkers, moving them forward. This is a good spot for him. You can see he has a ton of macro hatches at his 3rd, and Lancerex is going to be forced to retreat here. 3-2 upgrades on this gateway army, and we have 0-0 on these Links still for Jaehyun. DT's at the 3rd. Does Jaehyun notice? Does Jaehyun notice? Looks like he doesn't notice. And this is actually found money from Lancerex. Not really expecting to get this much economic damage. Looks like an Overlord was sent here, but Jaehyun really just missed it. Realizes now, but after losing a significant number of drones, he's droning up to get a 5th base now. It looks like we have Links going to bottom right, and these cannons aren't going to be in time, so this base is going to get denied. Lancerex is soon going to be on just the 1 base. You can see the probe saturation at his natural is very weak, even at his 3rd. He does, of course, only have 39 drones, and with 9 on gas, that leaves only 30 for the remaining minerals. Jaehyun, on the other hand, is on very healthy 4 base economy, getting a 5th now, +1 finally going to be done for these Links, and +3 for the Hydras. Now, of course, at this point, once all your tech is out of the way, Hive is done, Defiler and Crack have been researched. Really should invest in that 3rd evolution chamber. Want to catch up as quickly as possible, and the extra resources that's required to get upgrades is well worth it at this point. Of course, Plague, if well utilized, is way stronger than any kind of upgrade you can get from an evolution chamber, but it's still nice to have and should be prioritized as well. Hi, again, sorry for the disconnect earlier. Rude Girl can attest that we've been having internet issues. And again, just a small counterattack of Links, but this time there are some Zealots to defend the ramp, so well played by Lancerex. I like the cannon at the ramp as well. And Jaehyun's just taking all of the map now, and he's setting up for a counter, and this is huge. Once you know where the Perlas army is, counters can be very effective, and with Lurkers unburrowing just to set up a position under Swarm, this can be very dangerous for Lancerex. But you can see he's bringing his entire army, respecting this threat. And of course, Jaehyun, once he senses that, he's just going to attack where the army just was. So he's pulling Lancerex's attention to 2 different sides of the map, and Lancerex has to respect the threat of the counterattack. Now with 4 cannons, I think he'll have just enough. There's no Swarm here. It's only Lurkers and Lings. But it's not like Jaehyun is banking on this to kill a base. He really just wants to buy time to get his bases set up. You can see he has 6 bases now. And these kind of small unit sacrifices to buy time on the map are really worthwhile. Even forcing out these storms with only a small group of Lings. Jaehyun doesn't really care about that. Oh, there we have a massive Plague. And actually we have the Lurkers burrowing outside of the bridge. He's splitting them up, so not to lose too many. And if he can keep Lancerex on the other side of the bridge with Lurkers under Swarm, it's going to be very difficult for Lancerex to ever get out on the map. You see these alts are already extremely bruised, going down to the lurker spines, and Jane just rallying army over here. He has his rally here. He has a ton of hatcheries, about 10, 11 hatcheries at this point. Once Zerg gets all their tech and upgrades established, they really just focus on producing with their economy. 6th base even getting set up. Lancer-X does have 4 bases, and he is well fortified, but he's in a tough position. Hive's Zerg is very potent. Defilers with Plague. Lurkers under Swarm. Good positioning from Jaehyun is going to make it very difficult for Lancer-X to take a good fight. He still has the upgrade advantage, but every armor upgrade that Lancer-X research is made useless by just 1 Plague. And now here we have the final, last bit of tech really that Zerg gets after getting all their Defiler upgrades, after getting the Evolution Chambers. Really, drop is the last thing they get, and it just gives them another avenue of attack. Now, these could maybe get caught. No, looks like he's just barely gonna scoop by. Now, he has to be careful if Lancer-X can get some storms on these Overlord clumps. Looks like he's maneuvering his Overlord. Now Lancer-X is gonna see this, but will we have enough to react to this? Looks like there are 2 gateways here, but there's no units in the main, and there's no way for him to defend with just this small army. There are 2 DTs here, but what he really wants are high Templars and cannons near this nexus. He's dropping on the army. The army is already extremely weak. You can see how quickly it goes down. And units coming in, flanking the cannons from both sides. Lancer-X's army is at his natural, and he actually went through a different angle trying to avoid the lurker field outside of this bridge. But the base has already gone down. Even with 1 melee upgrade, cracklings are extremely effective killers. And now he's gonna have to go up a ramp. Aren't that many lurkers, but with Hydras and Lings, even 1 or 2 lurkers can be extremely effective above a ramp. Good storms from Lancer-X, and he is going to clean this up, but he's already lost the base, and Jaehyun's on 6th base and has the opportunity to keep attacking. Still making Dragoons. Really need splash at this point. It looks like he's barely not even going to clean this up. James just keeps rallying units over here, sending some drones to 6th base. He's going to expand again even. And he sees that Lancer-X is only on 1 base now. Main and natural, surely mined out now. He actually only has 2 on gas at his natural, so this was hurting his army composition. And he's going to move out for 1 final attack, but this is only Dragoons and 1 High Templar. Not the best army against late game Zerg. Jaehyun finally gonna catch up on upgrades. And here you go, here's the final attack, but 1 swarm, and all of these Dragoons are made useless. There's no High Templars left, there's no Zealots, no Archons, no Reavers, only Dragoons against pure Cracklings with Defiler support. There's a swarm, and no amount of micro can make this a good engagement. Even have a Plague on some of those back Dragoons. And Lancer-X types GG. So another point for Team USA. That'll make it 2-1. And well played by Jaehyun. For a moment there it looked a little bit dicey, but he was able to hold on. And we're gonna go into the next set. It's gonna be the 2v2. And the map is... well, I actually have to log in because I lost internet during that replay. I lost connection to the server as well. So if you hear me typing, that's me coming into the game. The 2v2 is going to be on Python. This season we're only going to have 2 maps. It's going to be Python and Fighting Spirit. Python and Iron Curtain. And personally, I prefer Iron Curtain just for the novelty factor. But Python is a classic 2v2 map. Let's go right into that. It's going to be Silver Sting against Raz and Striker. Alright, let's change the colors. And looks like we have the USA team. We have Striker as the blue Zerg spawning at 12 o'clock. And to the right of him we have, actually no, this is Silver, and to the right of him we have Sting as the blue Terran. And this is Team Russia on the right side of the map. On the left side we have Raz representing Team USA as the red Protoss, and Striker as the red Zerg at the bottom left side of the map. I guess the most interesting feature is the effectiveness of drop play on Python, because it allows you to take a third base or a second base that's much easier to defend. You basically only have to defend your ramp, and then you have a island base. We have Sting setting up for the wall. On this spawn, you can only wall with 3 depots, potentially a depot and an academy if I'm correct, and then the barracks of course at the bottom. And we have Raz going out for the gateway scout. Looks like Striker is going for an overpool. Oh no, this is over gas, so really fast lair. And now last week we saw ZP against ZP where one Zerg went for one hatch lair and died. But against ZT, one hatch lair is actually extremely common, because your Protoss ally can support you in the mid game, early mid game, and you don't need 2 hatchery production to defend from the attacks. And we have 12 pool from Silver, and looks like we have no mech play from Sting. So pretty standard. Double gateway from Raz. And Striker's just droning up, and he's gonna get his lair out as quickly as possible. Now, this is a bit of a mistake from Silver, slowing down his second hatchery to get the faster gas. This doesn't really make sense because you can't go lair when you're the ZT team reliably. You really want to get link speed. And let's look where he makes that first sunken. He should know, based on what Sting is giving him, this information, that he won't need the sunken. But he's making it anyway. He does see double gateway, and it's not like Sting can provide support to his ally, but he should be able to defend easily enough, knowing that Striker won't be able to put pressure out on the map. And again, the fast gas instead of the faster second hatchery doesn't make sense. You can't go lair. And here we go. They're gonna put some pressure on Sting. It's gonna be 3 zealots with 6 lings. And he's gonna make this creep as soon as he needs to, but again, this hatchery should already be done and the creep would be started now. Does give him enough time to defend. Sting, of course, behind us. You can see he's getting his academy, refinery mining. There's a 1 gap wall here. He blocks with the marine, and when they're putting pressure on, he's gonna utilize this moment to move out, but he has to be careful. Can't get spotted by this overlord. Let's see if he sees. Looks like this overlord definitely sees, and we have them retreating. But Sting also retreats, doesn't really commit. He really has to go back now. This is extremely risky to move out with unsupported marines without any upgrades. There's a cannon going down for Raz, and here we go. The 6 marines are still out on the map. This is so risky, but now they have link support from Silver, and because Striker is only on the 1 hatch, you can see Raz has gone into cannons. Now these cannons are going to support his ally and himself. Of course, he's delaying his take quite significantly to get this out, but it does make it. Oh, the defense! Oh, that was crazy. Why would he move in there? Because Striker teched up so far in the tech tree, these cannons are going to provide support. allow him to not make any more links. Of course, he has 12 drones, so this is still a strong economy. He can get 1 drone per patch while fully supporting his gas mining. Looks like we have a 3rd barracks from Sting, not a factory. Now, the 3rd barracks will make the mid-game army stronger, but it does delay the tech quite significantly. The best way to deal with these mutas is with the Radiate. We got +1 instantly started from Striker. Where's the 2nd hatch? Looks like he wants to take the natural with his 2nd hatch, but he's not quite comfortable yet doing it. Sting, of course, is going to have medics soon, and with medic support, the Marines are suddenly a lot more dangerous. Looks like Striker waiting for cannons to be added to his natural. The first 3 mutas are out, and Silver's Spire is actually quite a bit later than his, but Striker doesn't know this, and Striker isn't putting on pressure with the mutas instantly. They lingered around here for a bit, and here's the 2nd hatchery, but really wanted at the natural. Now Python's naturals are extremely open and wide, so it's pretty hard to defend them. And there we have Striker's first 4 mutalisks. 4 mutas will one-shot the Lings, and he is getting +1. And Sting, there's the factory finally. Looks like I missed the factory. How's it already done? Starport should be started soon, and here are the first 4 mutalisks. And he's not ready. Silver is not ready, so this is actually catastrophic damage already. One of the ways they could have defended from this is Sting's army being in Silver's main, but unfortunately just arriving a little bit too late. Already lost a couple of drones. Losing a muta there. Oh, almost losing the 2nd one. He has to be careful. Starport on the way for Sting, but this is gonna have to be lifted to make that add-on. And behind this, Raz is going straight into DT, knowing the Terran went for bio. He actually never made any more Zealots, using only cannons to defend both players. Oh, hello again. Sorry for earlier disconnect. Chilean internet. I don't know what to say. And this position is actually looking quite strong for Team USA. It's going to come down to how good and how quick these irradiates are. We have Raz looking for another expansion. Both players want to expand at this point, but this is a ton of cannons, so it's going to be quite delayed. And they're actually moving in. Silver with his mutalisks, killing his cannons. The Marines stemming from behind. Because it's 3 cannons on the ramp, I highly doubt they will be able to kill Raz. The Marines can target 2 of the cannons effectively from the low ground, but it's still very risky. Waiting for that vessel to be produced, and there it is. Now these Marines, let's look at the upgrades. Don't have any upgrades quite yet. The mutas are about to have +1. Nope, they already have +1. Even more cannons going down. So at this point, really, Raz is playing support entirely. Entirely support. Why does he have an Archon and not Storm? I don't know. But Sting is basically alone at this point. Striker did enough economic damage to Silver, and he's gonna have the muta upgrade advantage basically the entire game. They have to be careful not to engage the mutalisks. Really want to wait for that vessel, and Raz is gonna have superior tech to the Terran, so it's gonna come down to the vessel usage. But a ton of the bio is already bleeding, and Striker's finally gonna set up that 2nd second hatchery. Again, Silver took a ton of damage from those mutas. You can see he's droning up now, but basically up until this point, it's been Sting only with a couple muta and Lings to support him out on the map. And now with the bio entirely cleaned up, this is actually looking very grim. Vessel's gonna come out now, but without any bio support, it's easy to split up the mutas. Raz is gonna take his own 2nd base. And Team Russia GG's, and with that, we have another point forward, Team USA. That'll make it 3-1. Silver just had the anti-muted defense a little bit late, and Sting's bio was too far to defend for him. So we're gonna go into the next set. It's gonna be Max against Tom Brown. Now Tom Brown, I think, is Magician. I'm not 100% sure. So let's go into that. You slept on the bus. How long is the ride, Caster Muse? How long is the bus ride? Alright, let's go into Neil Silphid, Max against Tom Brown. Alright, in the bottom left, we have the green Zerg, BSL 10, Brown representing Team USA. And in the bottom right, we have Max as the magenta Protoss representing Team Russia. Now I think this was the last week where Casper and XPX weren't on Team Russia. They got added to the roster after this week, or during this week, I should say. Which one is Boa? I think Boa's game is next, if I'm correct. Boa against Gornich. Alright, Pylon already looking a little bit strange. Where's he gonna position it? Nexus goes here. Let's analyze. Looks like it's fine. Now this is interesting because normally you scout clockwise on Silphid because you can spot their overlord incoming if they're clockwise from you. So as a response, I've often seen Zergs just hide this overlord. In this position, the overlord would go a little bit further south to avoid the probe scout, but it looks like none of the players are interested in any of that. Max is gonna get here, see no creep, and immediately retreat. We have an overpull from Brown, and he's positioning it to mirror boost the top patch. You can already see this drone in the top patch is gonna bounce off this hatchery much faster. So I think Brown is another Korean. Hello, hello, hola, hola. Team USA with 4 Koreans, right? Max is gonna get here, see no hatchery. Now, because he only scouted with the 1 probe, even against overpull, he could still go Nexus first, but he's just not sure. He's actually blocking the natural just right off the bat. Like, Brown sees this, and why is the drone retreating? Oh, because there's one on the map already, and he's gonna take his mineral only as his third. In Chile, it's 7:21, or I should say 19:21. There's a Nexus finally from Max. Pylon was cancelled. It does force Zerg to take another base with their second hatch, but it's not that big of a deal. Protoss is trading 25 minerals for it. Does this matter at all? I don't even know. And the wall from Max. I guess this was... No, this is a 4 gap. I don't know. How are you supposed to wall here? I guess this fort should be further down, but it won't allow 2 rows of cannons. I don't know. Also, currently there's a 12-hour difference between Chile and Korea. Easy to calculate. So this changes things. This is 2 hatch lair with a delayed 3rd hatch from Brown. This is all kinds of strange. And he has 1 too many drones here, but again, oh, we have a drone not mining. And because it's so close to the mineral, okay, I thought he wouldn't notice. Second cannon from Max. He does see the second hatchery, but he should realize, I mean the third hatchery, he should realize this is quite delayed. Lair's done. And he sees the lair timing. What is this lair going to be utilized for? Looks like we don't have the money quite yet for anything. Max is Team Russia, Brown is Team USA. And there's the Spire. Spire going down before Stargate, and we already have a cannon in the main. So Max is playing super scared. We have 3 pros blocking the wall. Where's the Zealot? Why no Zealots are out? So actually, it looks like this wall is actually very good. I've never seen it like this. I usually see the Forge 1 lower, but it does allow an extra row of cannons. Yeah, I'm the only caster today. Why were you hoping for someone better? Again, Max playing this super scared, and Brown is playing standard behind this. His lair is just a little bit faster than normal. We have +1 on the way for the Corsairs. First Corsair in production. Scourge are going to be in time. I don't see a second gas from Brown. He will have enough to make 5 mutas right off the bat. Still don't have a 5th hatchery. And looks like he is saving up for those mutas. 5 mutas immediately made. Are we going to have any Scourge in support? Now, Protoss is getting +1 Corsairs. And the Corsairs will scout these mutas. But it might mean that the muta will be able to snipe it. We have a second gas being made. And there's a Hydra net. So it's going to be quick transition into 4-hatch Hydra. And I did see this earlier in Nation Wars where Brown went 5 mutas into 4-hatch Hydra. And it really caught the Protoss off guard. Protoss sees the mutas and he's going to react. He's going to defend. He's probably going to see a second cannon in the main. And then another one in the mineral line at the natural. He has to be careful here. It's only 5 mutas after all. And we already have the natural mining, gas, and Hydra speed is on the way. So this is still very aggressive from Brown. He's just getting some probe shots. 5 mutas will one-shot probes. And here we have them targeting the Corsair. Corsair being pulled back. Then now the mutas have been bruised up enough that they're being forced to retreat. Should spread them out. Don't really want to micro against Corsairs like this. And as you can see, Max is respecting the threat of mutas, and he just keeps making Corsairs. He's not able to scout in this spot, and he doesn't actually know what build he's going for because he saw the extra hatchery at the natural. He didn't see it was only 4-hatch Hydra follow-up, not 5-hatch. It will hit faster than he expects, but this is quite aggressive. This is very all-in. Well, I shouldn't say it's very all-in. It's just very aggressive. Zerg can definitely transition out of this. They will have only 4 hatchery production, but this attack is going to hit, and I don't think Brown is going to be ready for it. He's only going to have 3 zealots and 3 cannons. You can see the archives timing. It's only finishing now. The gateways are being added. Looks like he was being blocked there. But adding 6 gateways like this really means that you needed that faster second gateway. If he had made 2 High Templars here right off the bat, no, he still wouldn't be in position to defend from this attack. He's completely blind. This is a significant number of Hydras, and you can see Hydra speed is already done. Range is on the way. He's hiding them effectively. The Corsairs haven't been scouting. They've just been holding back in the base, predicting a muta attack. But now we can see the Hydras are already here, and Max instantly adding some cannons. Mutas maybe wanted to kill High Templars. Corsairs show up just in time, but you can see this is a huge number of Hydras, and now there's only cannons to defend. The wall will help the pro pull in effect, but it's only 3 cannons. The second anti-muta cannon helping out, but just too many Hydras from Max at too fast a timing. Storm is about halfway done here. Don't have energy anyway, and looks like Brown just barely gonna be able to kill him with this attack. Gateway's just finishing now. Just no production at all from Max. He really defended the mutas and nothing else. Let's see, it's only 4 hatcheries but very effective attack from Brown. And USA wins. This is 4-1 for Team USA. Now, there's still one match left, and we're going to cast that anyway. Sorry. Alguien pregunta dónde puede ver. Si quiere ver los resultados, todos están en Wikipedia, pero si quieren ver los casts, están en YouTube de Titanes. Hilarious ball riding Gornich versus ball should be interesting. Yeah, we're gonna cast it. Don't worry. The map is Optimizer. Now, I just noticed this on my own, but if anyone's watching this and they're gonna play Team Russia, here's a tip. They always send out Gornich on Optimizer. Alright. We have the magenta Protoss spawning in the bottom right, and it's ball white representing Team USA. Map is Optimizer, and in the bottom right, we're going to have Gornich as the orange Zerg representing Team Russia. And yes, this should be an interesting match. Looks like we have horizontal spawns. Now, I think horizontal spawns and vertical spawns are both pretty interesting on this map. Vertical because the paths can be opened up between the bases, and horizontal because it means if Zerg wants to take a third, it's going to have to be another natural. They could of course take this one, but it does make it a lot harder to defend in the early mid game from any kind of Protoss aggression. Looks like ball white makes a pylon at the natural, and he's going to go back into his main. Oh, Korean name 17 is Striker. I didn't know. Makes sense. I wonder if Kadenzi's here because she won her match and then she's in the chat like 5 hours early. That could be it. It's like Gornich not gonna go for an overpull. Bull's going for the gateway. Expand. And is this going to be 11 hatch or 12? Looks like it's going to be 11 hatch. No, 12 hatch. Cute scout from Gornich going horizontally, not vertically. TT1 ran, yes, he went to play after the disconnect. Hopefully we don't have any more disconnects. Cross your fingers. Do I always cast? No, I usually cast at, I guess it would be 11 p.m. on Sundays. But this past Sunday I was sick, couldn't cast. Usually it's before BSL, a couple hours before. Why are you awake at this time? Alright, there's the gateway producing the first solid. It's gonna go directly to Gornich's base. And let's look at this pool timing, because this was 12 hatch, not 11. Can someone... How did have at you end? I really was out of the loop this entire weekend. Alright, so it's about to head or arrive at this natural, and we have Gornich setting up for the other natural as this third. Good defense. Not letting his pro drones get harassed, and the links are gonna be a little bit late. This is one of the risks of 12 hatch. Already forced a drone drill, but playing the smart, doesn't really want to engage the drone drill, realizing if the drones aren't mining, damage is done. Just dancing with the zealot, and behind this, where's the second zealot? Second zealot arriving at the natural, and on Optimizer you can't just plug it behind the natural and call it a day. There's enough room for the links to get full surrounds on the zealot. Where's the second zealot? Whoa, looks like 2 of the links got down. And we do get 4 lings. So it looks like all of the lings were bruised. He's gotta be careful. Looks like he's pulling off some drones to help fight. But this is already a ton of damage. Second Zealot after natural. One of the things you should never do when you're facing 1K is send drones to the natural before the attack has been dealt with. It becomes a test of multitask. Where did the drones go? Looks like they ran away. And Goran's just gonna hold, but I think that still was a ridiculous amount of damage. There's a probe transfer from Boa, Cybernetics core on the way, and Goran pulls all off gas after he starts link speed. I think Boa played on this map as well, and it was against Dragon, and he won. I don't remember if he opened one gate, but I know he went one Ser into 4-gate speed lot, and Dragon died to the 4-gate speed lot. I don't remember much else about that game, but this has the potential to turn into that kind of game. We do have a second gas, so that makes it a little bit less likely. Although he did make the second gas anyway against Drag, so I do remember that. He went first. One Ser into 4-gate speed lot with the second gas. There's a macro hatch from him. Gornich also acts as a pseudo wall, but it's a little bit weird to place it away from your choke. Zealots can run by like this. And it looks like he wants to open up the path between his two bases, which is pretty smart. It is going to take a while, but with one drone pecking away at the minerals, only a few minutes. One probe under the gateway being stashed away like this, so it can't be targeted by those Zerglings, just playing it as safely as possible. And we have a robotic, so already mixing it up. Stargate not producing Corsairs quite yet. We are supply blocked here. This is a lethal supply block, 42. And the air distance between these two bases is much shorter than the ground distance, so speed shuttles are very effective. Still making Corsairs, and Gornich is not going to have any idea of this until he sees the shuttle, basically. You got one Overlord made in the main, it's going to get picked off instantly. Only two Hydras here to defend. Targeted Corsair gets pulled back. And we have Boa just waiting for that shuttle to come out. We have shuttle speed, about 30% done. The way it's timed out, with the Reaver being made first, the shuttle will finish and speed will finish shortly after. We have gateways being added, and it's going to be a speed lot follow-up. So this is actually a very deadly attack. It's going to be one Reaver, and all these Sunkens that are being made are going to be completely useless because you don't need Sunkens against Reavers. He's expecting a speed lot attack that isn't coming, so he's hindering his build by getting these Sunkens up. And there we have the shuttle and the second Reaver, and it's going to be 6 gateway follow-up. Their speed finally on the way, and we're going to have a third Nexus eventually being added. And you can see this layer. We're not going to have Lurkers in time. We're not going to have Mutas in time. So the only way to defend is with Hydras and the Sim City. But the Reavers will be an added factor that Zerg won't be expecting here. There's the second gas finally for Gornich. Even making another creep. So all these creeps are because you're expecting a large ground incoming attack, but the ground attack is delayed because of this Reaver investment. And he's making all these gateways now to follow up the first Reaver Zealot attack. And there's the first Reaver unloading. Not the greatest scare, but there another Ser comes in. Now these Zealots are poking away at these Hydras. You can see the Hydras get popped. Now the mineral line is exposed. We have a Spore here that's not going to help either. Now the mineral line exposed, and 5 Corsairs is enough against just the one Spore, targeting down these Overlords. And again, you can see how far it takes this army to get here. These mineral patches aren't mined out yet. Oh, it looks like the Scarab was... Nope, still went off. And Reaver does go down, but the shuttle is kept alive. Shuttle is really important here. It's going to fly into the range of this Spore, and... Okay, just barely gets away. Just barely, just barely. And there we go. Now he's going to retreat, but this wasn't the big attack. The big attack isn't coming now. That was only one Reaver and 2 Zealots, and it killed what looked to be about a dozen Hydras and some drones. The follow-up attack is going to be much stronger, much deadlier. Gornich wants to drone up in that moment, and he's also supply blocked from the Corsairs. Still 5 Corsairs alive. Observatory and Archives following this up. And here comes the big attack from Boa. Where is the Reaver? It's actually 2 Reavers now with the shuttle support. And he's going to go straight for the natural shortest distance. We have the 3rd Nexus already on the way. We have the Archives already done. Storm being researched. High Templars, Dark Templars, and Zealots being made. Another possibility if this attack doesn't end the game is for subsequent Storm and DT drops. We have Reavers in front of the wall. Going to start poking away. These act like tanks. Zerg wants to camp behind their wall, but that's only effective against Zealots. It isn't against Reavers. Reavers are exposed now. The Hydra's moving forward. The shuttle is still a little bit behind. One of the Reavers goes down instantly. Another Reaver goes down. But I think Boa just has too many Zealots here. This is still a ton of Zealots. Aren't that many Hydras left. We have even more Zealots coming from behind. They clean up the flanking Hydras. Boa macroing wall out of 6 gateways. 3rd already up. And only 1 sunken left. How many Hydras? We only have 4 Hydras and drones here. And this is more than a control group of Zealots. And he's just getting overrun now. Too much damage suffered from that first Reaver and Zealot attack. Now the Overlords are undefended. Mineral line is undefended. Zealots leaking into the main. More Zealots coming in from behind. We even have a shuttle, but no Reaver here. Reaver's being produced now, but there's just too much ground army now. Good follow-up attack from Boa. Gordich was never allowed to breathe in this game, and he's getting overrun now. Well-timed attack, well-controlled with that first... Basically, that game ended with that first shuttle and Reaver top right. And no GG from Gornich, and that's going to end with a pretty convincing win for Team USA. It ends at 5-1 with only DeWalt netting a win. Let's look at that lineup. And there it is. So basically only DeWalt won for Team Russia and then USA won the rest. So very dominant win.
Si te gustó este video, no olvides darle like. Y si aún eres nuevo y aún no te suscribes, te invitamos a hacerlo y a darle clic a la campanita. Recuerda que todos los días viernes estaremos subiendo nuevas guías y nuevo material, todo en relación con Starcraft remasterizado. Hasta la próxima, amigos.